What's up, everybody? I am back with a new Jake Munro video. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Yeah, man, I really like his stuff. Definitely should check out his channel, Jake Munro. I want to always try to give the people I react to the proper respect as much as possible. Give them a little shout out. But yeah, I am eager to hear his thoughts on this video. The left is not diverse. So without further ado, please do me a huge favor and follow me in the links in the description below, such as my YouTube channel and Twitch, where I stream video games, react to videos, review content, such as comics, movies, TV shows, etc. So let's hop right into Jake Munro. Weird to see him without his makeup.
Welcome back to the Jake Munro Show, where I'm currently trying to get over a cold. So I apologize if I don't sound as silky smooth as I usually do. Today, we're talking about diversity. Everyone's favorite letter within DEI. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how does diversity equate to leftism, or more accurately, how it actually doesn't. I know, right? Liberals and leftists, they're like all about diversity, man. It's like their thing. But I'm going to talk about how the D in DEI might actually stand for dumbass with these people. If you're interested in picking up one of these hats, by the way, the link is down below. Also comes in red. So get in there, pick up your hat, make goth great again, become part of the MGGA, the new red-pilled goth movement out there. I see you. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Especially the last week has been absolutely nuts. Can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are amazing. Round of applause for yourselves. To the crew as well. There's no one here, it's just me. Testosterone, linked to having more conservative values. Who would have thought that being less of a pussy would make you more based? Don't be this guy. Don't be him. This quivering, shaking man bitch. You see, I think our first biggest indicator that the left are not actually diverse came when Donald Trump won in 2024. I think that was probably the most stock indicator of what we're actually dealing with here. We're dealing with a type of tribalism. This is no longer a political party. This is no longer a collective of ideologies. It is now a tribe. These people now make decisions for the greater good, for the survival of the tribe. See, what I'm trying to say is, the left is not diverse in the sense that, oh, it's like a multicultural, multi-ethnic collective of people. But whenever the demographic statistics came in for those who voted for Trump last year, and a large portion of that, or a larger portion than what was expected came out, was blacks and Hispanics. Well, the left were not too happy about that, were they? Suddenly they weren't so interested in things like inclusion and tolerance. No, there was a lot of very insensitive jokes going around about being
Hold on.
about that.
There you go. To liberals who are angry with black and Latino voters, why? More black and Latino people voted for Democrats than they did for Republicans. The only demographic that had more people vote for Republicans than they did Democrats are white people, straight cis white people to be more exact, as more white LGBTQ plus people also voted for Democrats than they did Republicans. So why are people angry with black and Latino people instead of straight cis white people when they are the only ones who predominantly voted for Trump? And do you think that getting angry with black and Latino people will help gain votes in future elections? Or do you think it'll only push them even further away? I am angry at all non-democratic voters, regardless of race. If they believe Republicans are nicer or less angry, I find them stupid as hell. Stupid as well. You may say calling them stupid turns them away, but Trump calls everyone stupid and only grew his support among Latinos. People want to be angry and don't know who to take it out on now, so they're blaming everyone.
Were they? Suddenly they weren't so interested in things like inclusion and tolerance. No, there was a lot of very insensitive jokes going around about being deported. The assumptions being made that all Mexicans are illegal immigrants. Because being a leftist is not actually about inclusivity. It's about the complete opposite of that. It's about creating a unified ideological cult that they can use to wield like a weapon. And they're doing that in Goth at the moment. We've had a couple of casualties already, including one of my own, Jay Lynn, exercising her right to share things like empathy for a man that was assassinated in front of his family. What a monster. This is why I have things like the Discord linked below for free-thinking, empathetic goths like Jay Lynn. There's been a few other people that have been hunted by the goth Gestapo using the unifier of shared morals, or at least moral superiority, in order to cancel and deplatform. Now, the first mistake was being on Reddit in the first place. Don't go to Reddit. Don't go there, okay? Trump announced that there is a connection between Tylenol and autism. This prompted pregnant women,
As you can see, this is like not too long ago, but is kind of like a few months. Like definitely, it was within like November, maybe October, November, maybe. It's been a while.
Liberal women, armed with a lethal case of TDS, to put an innocent child in the firing line so that they can signal their virtues by taking Tylenol whilst pregnant. Now, the biggest mistake that these idiots made was, for one, procreating while being stupid. I think this should be a crime. Honestly, this should be a crime. DUI, driving under the influence, pregnant while dumb. I don't see the difference here. You should be cautioned for the first one. The second one, that's an honest offense. You know what you're doing at that point. But they assumed that Donald Trump just sort of sat in his chair, just in the White House, in the Oval Office, just staring at random stuff on his desk, and then said, do you know what? Tylenol probably causes autism.
I'm not really a cupcake, but I am super baked, thanks to Mood Can.
Mood is third-party.
I'm going to say that on TV next. No, it's actually based on this study, which pre-exists.
Pause right here. I'm going to read it for a second, but yeah. Like, I did find it kind of course, Donald Trump recently did something that was very dumb with the whole Obama's, retweeting an image somebody else created as with the Obamas and Biden as monkeys, and that was kind of like very dumb. I don't care if he thought it was just like a funny joke, dude. You're old enough to know, and it's definitely people around you old enough to know how this would look, and you will get the brunt of the blame. You didn't need to do this. But before all that, I thought it was still kind of effed up to some American people to, jump down his, Trump's throat when he made an announcement about the whole Tylenol having like some correlation with autism, and he clearly got the information from medical officials who have the resources and the and the knowledge to do their due diligence and relay this information to him. Now, of course, he might not have put it so scientifically or eloquently as you might have liked it, maybe, but he broke it down in simplistic terms because I think that's best for the American people, because not many of us are that freaking sophisticated. Most of us are pretty sheepish, so we need to put it in layman's terms for a lot of people. And yeah, they still got mad at him because it's just a hate boner. He could have just as easily announced that, through the Oxford Science Division, whatever, found the cause of cure, then the cure to cancer, and some people cannot just give him any kind of accolades. They refuse, like certain the ultra leftists, not like the every Democrat. There's like reasonable people out there, but those super ultra leftists, like somebody like crap, blanking on his doggone name, plays the Hulk, crap, just blanking on his name. What is his doggone name? Mark Ruffalo. Golly, I don't know what was like. Why I was struggling with that. I keep wanting to say Pedro Pascal. I was like, he wasn't the Hulk. What's wrong with me? Yeah, it's something like something like Mark Ruffalo, who will just say like anything because like he just like, you don't have to like the president. It's like no one's forcing you, and you can have your reasonable criticisms, of course. But this was inherently a good thing. But people like the ladies on The View, at least most of the ladies, not all the ladies, but most of the ladies on The View, or somebody like Mark Ruffalo, the same ideology, these little silos, they dare not or will not give that man any props just on the sole basis of the fact they do not like him, or he did something they did not like or might not agree with, and so they would just completely and utterly denounce anything or make up some kind of notion in their mind or discount anything or make up anything just to rationalize the fact that he is still do something nefarious. If he gotten parents for every orphan in the country so they will not be stuck in the system, they will still find a way to make it a negative. That's how bad it is. The fact that he cannot get any props. Most of them can't, well, at least dare not say anything nice about him because it'll just, they get turned away from the Democratic Party, at least the ultra left. I was like, oh my God. So you just like, oh, he found some kind of peace between Russia and Ukraine, or Israel and Gaza, ceasefire and all that stuff, which is like inherently a good thing. But if somebody points that out, or at least have like a change of mind, or it's like, this actually is like a good thing, good on you, but it's always got to be a but to it, or the people in their little silos will look at them and reject them or exile them because you dare go against the collective. Like I always said, it's like it's diverse of skin but not of thought. You can't just say like he did like a decent thing and just leave it at that. Trump, you did a good thing. You did a good thing, and just leave it at that. No adding no caveats or buts to it. Just leave it there. All right. Use of negative control exposure analysis to evaluate confounding. An example of acetaminophen exposure and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in Nurses Health Study 2. And our NCE analysis suggested that only acetaminophen used at the time of pregnancy was associated with childhood ADHD. Odds ratio equals 1.34, 95% confidence interval 1.5, 1.72, and the effects estimates for the two NCE periods, about 4 years before and 4 years after the pregnancy, were null. Our findings corroborate those of prior reports, suggesting that prenatal, I'm not saying that word again, exposure may influence neurodevelopment. So clearly, there's science behind this. He's not just talking out of his butt as much as they like to think or say or feel. To be accurate, they probably just feeling like he's talking out of his butt. They can't think rationally or have some thinking on their own accord and say like, hey, he did a good thing.
Trump actually even mentioned this at all. There are a bunch of news outlets online trying to discredit, disprove, or even downplay the findings in this paper. But if you ask me, if I was a pregnant woman, if I identified as a pregnant woman, I would do everything I could to make sure I do not damage the health of my child. Oh, but autism doesn't need to be cured, says these self-diagnosed on the internet. Yeah, I'm sure with your cutesy self-diagnosis of what you have been told, what you have perceived to be autism, I'm sure you feel super special and unique, but there are such cases of autism that is nonverbal, that requires around-the-clock help, that requires care homes after they reach a certain age. They're unable to go to the toilet by themselves. I think these people, if they were able to do so, and certainly in the case of their carers, I think they would probably say, yes, I would love to have a cure for this. This is really not great. Now, of course, as I said in the last video, at the very heart of this Tylenol situation are liberal white women. This type of performative moral virtue signaling using an innocent life that hasn't done anything yet and taking Tylenol online. You're doing it online. This is the problem. They're doing it online. Women love attention. These types especially love the attention for it, which is why they went ahead and posted videos of them doing it online. Now, there is this video saying that there is a woman currently on a ventilator and her liver is shutting down and she's going to die because she took so much Tylenol to stick it to Trump that she is now reaping the physical ramifications of this and will meet an ultimate end. I can't find any information anywhere that corroborates this story. The only source for this story is this lady right here, and I think this source is dubious at best. So don't make yourself look foolish out there and believe everything you see, because sometimes it is just a liberal white woman trying to get views and clicks. But again, at the root of the cause is TDS, this single unified...
That's what I'm talking about, the hate boners. It's like, you hate this man so much, you will literally risk your health just to spite him. It's literally the saying, cutting off your nose to spite your face. That's what people like that are doing. Cutting off their nose to spite their face because they cannot just acknowledge or like will never acknowledge anything Trump does as inherently a good thing. Sure, you don't have to agree with everything he does or did, but he's not, the overall scum of the earth. There are things that you can say like, yeah, this thing he does is a very crappy thing, and this thing he does is a generally good thing. Just like anybody. Some worse than others. There's some probably even worse than Trump by leaps and bounds that's living today on this planet. But it's just like, you gotta think critically and think for yourself, people. I can acknowledge the fact that, yeah, there are things about Trump that I completely disagree with. And there are things about him that I do disagree with. I mean, I do agree with. I can parse those things because, I think for myself. But nobody, at least some people on the left just cannot do that or will not do that.
Fire. This opponent, this enemy, this Hitler 2.0 that has been created in order to center in, pinch the tip of the collective hatred of the left going after Trump. What do we do now? I don't know. As long as we're doing it against Trump, let's do that. This level of TDS, willfully endangering the lives of fetuses, unborn children, seems to be the same affliction that has affected teachers, healthcare professionals, caregivers. Do you think these people if they were able to ascertain the political beliefs of the people under their care, the impressionable children, the vulnerable, elderly, or sickly, do you think maybe they would change the quality of their care? Can you honestly say with absolute certainty this would have no effect whatsoever on their willingness to make sure someone doesn't die? Their direct input in indoctrinating children of parents of a particular persuasion politically? I mean, teachers are doing this anyway. In fact, teachers are nuts. There seems to be a lot of teachers out there that are pushing this shit. And you think this is not a coincidence. We know it's not. But I'm not here to get to the root cause of that. It's fruitless. We got Nick Fuentes for that. Now, the study I want to talk about is actually this one. This one right here.
Social psychology. Attitude networks as intergroup realities. Using network modeling to research attitude identity relationships in polarized political contexts.
Here, a lot of people seem to be struggling to truly grasp some of the concepts that were used, some of the techniques and the process that was used to ascertain the fact that people on the right tend to have a far more diverse set of opinions as opposed to the tribalism that is present in the left. This graphic, while very vaguely described in this actual paper,
Abstracted attitude network, a visual representation of the abstracted attitude network revealing a distribution of 40 attitudes into 2 clusters. Note, dark blue, strong disagreement, pale blue, moderate disagreement, gray, neutral, orange, moderate agreement, red, strong agreement. 2 attitude clusters depicting latent Democrat blue and Republican red belief systems.
It also does go into a vignette study. And a vignette study that was used in this was to determine not just how, in the initial study, how people originally thought about each of the points that was presented to them, but also how they feel about people they perceive to be an out-group, right? How do they feel, how do they perceive people who are not of their political camp? This graphic here also represents this diversity of thought, this diversity of opinion. Whereas liberals were far more unified in their singular hatred, people on the right were ranging from indifferent to equally disdainful of those opposed to them. The study also goes into the fact that people who are considered to be centrists or moderate were far more likely to find themselves tipping over.
Overcome based on issues in which identities are not tied to a specific position. For instance, the present data suggests that normatively acceptable viewpoints for Republicans on gay marriage, abortion rights, and environmental protection, though through business regulation, range from mild agreement to extreme disagreement, hence providing a potential space for political negotiation. Supporting information B in appendix. A pessimistic interpretation, however, would be that because neural issue positions are largely embedded into the Republican belief system, rather than being equally distributed between Republicans and Democrats, they may get pulled over to the Republican extreme.
Over the fence into the right-wing side, into the Republican conservative side, sorry to use the correct terminologies here. This leads in to the truth that the liberal and democratic systems are dissolving. They are losing power all the time. We are seeing the symptoms of this throughout the nation. We are seeing the struggle. We are seeing the last shaking, trembling fist grip onto the final remnants of power as it's being redistributed. Leftists have become so repulsive, so disturbing in their beliefs, in their behaviors, that they are no longer winning over new people. For once, for the first time in probably a long time, the youth are now finding their way over to the conservative side because the conservative side is not insane. Now, this is why you shouldn't go to Reddit. Okay? I get it, right? You go on a Reddit, you've got r/everything you could ever want. People discussing things, but you need to remember it is infested by these ideological, morally superior assholes, these narcissistic, egocentric tools. You want to see the textbook definition of power trip? Just talk to any Reddit mod. Oh my God. You seen that episode of American Dad where they're allowed to use the tannoy system, the announcement systems, to read out the announcements for the day. And every kid that gets in front of that mic, that gets given the power to read out the announcements to the
I remember that episode. That episode was funny as hell.
school, they end up going power hungry and losing their minds. It's like that. It's what a Reddit mod is like. But if you go through the Reddit thread that's discussing this study, you will find that there is a great deal, almost exclusively, of liberals, leftists, center-lefts, progressive, Democrats. It's a veritable buffet of everything that is left. Every flavor of it. Every single flavor and texture of left is in that thread, trying to justify why being a tribal asshole, being a violent rhetoric spewing shithead is perfectly justified, and how being diverse of thought on the right, more conservative side is actually a bad thing. You know, it reminded me of that very similar story that came out about the Gen Z stare, which I think is probably one of my favorite things, because I noticed this and I didn't realize this was a generation-wide phenomenon. See, the Gen Z stare was initially proposed as a stare of someone who is socially incapable as a result of a very early exposure to social media, to conversing using text, completely void of anything natural like inflection or body language or eye contact or the usual pacing of a conversation. They're so used to conversing over text and keyboard formats that whenever they're actually presented with a real human being in real life, they're staring at you like deer in the headlights. See, the way Gen Z tried to reframe the Gen Z stare, they tried to get all superior on your ass. Yeah, the Gen Z stare isn't because we're socially inept. It's actually because we're so smart that when you idiots come in and ask us stupid questions, we can't collectively believe how stupid you are. Nonsense. You're telling me that Gen Z as a generation are so smart that they can't even begin.
There's a recent video that I saw. Not sure if it was like a TikTok video or something else. It was relatively short. Some of it was like TikTok, where a woman, an older millennial, as she mentions, older black woman, and like probably around my age, maybe a year older than me, was paying for some cleaning service. And I guess there was some kind of app that was supposed to be used to, to like kind of document or, when the person come in and did their service, something or other like that. But this young girl, Gen Z, come up and rung her doorbell. I'm not sure how big her place is or if it's like an apartment or something, but she had to ring herself, in to get let inside the building. And when she rung the bell and told the lady, the app is down, so I don't think I'll be able to do my job. And the one was befuddled, like, why? You're already here, or else you just come in, so you can't work because the app is down? And the millennial woman mentions how she work with social media and all the other stuff, so she knows her way around tech, and she mentions that things like that tend to go down on occasion, but they tend to also come right back up pretty quickly, which it did in this case. But the girl clearly was so lazy, didn't have any kind of work ethic to just come in, do her job. The lady was going to make sure it was documented that she did her thing. And the girl, because as I work plenty of jobs where I have to use some kind of app to do certain tasks. Not everything, but like a good chunk of stuff. If it goes down, you can always call in like the customer service thing or talk with your bosses, let them know, so that way things can be situated so you will get paid for the time that you still work there despite the tech issue. But the girl was so lazy, and it kind of boggles the mind. Like, you already came all the way up there, you might as well just do the job, because I will be damned if I go all the way up there, and because some app issue, even though everything else is like, I can still go in and work and do my thing, or because of some app issue, I decide, like, I can just go turn around and just go home anyway. It's like, and me being a millennial too, it's like, I think the millennials are probably the last. I won't paint a wide brush over Gen Z. I'm pretty sure plenty of Gen Zs will have like a solid work ethic. Depends on how well they are raised. But I think the millennial era is the last era of any sense of work ethic. There's like a broken mindset in a good portion of Gen Z people. Not all, but there's like a significant amount of them that has this lazy mindset.
To deal with the stupidity of millennials and Gen Xers. I'm not buying it. This is the exact same attitude that they just used in this Reddit thread to try and explain why their tribalism is actually super cool. And you're all stupid actually for being diverse. Seriously, look through this thread, man.
Thoughts on the study showing a greater diversity of thoughts from the right versus the left. That is very true. You pretty much see it like overwhelmingly the right as far more diverse than in the reverse.
It's just all leftists, liberals, social democrats, and then there's one conservative guy. And do you know what he said? I'm so glad I haven't been blocked yet. I laughed for about 5 minutes after I read that. What does that tell you about Reddit? What does that tell you? You know what? I actually saw something the other day that made me think. It made me think that maybe liberal white women are probably the biggest racists of us all. We can only aspire to be as thoughtlessly racist as they are. At least our racism is statistically based. Theirs is just rampant. These idiot liberal women and their culturally suicidal desires are the biggest racists of them all. Stay with me here. These chicks exercise this arrogantly narcissistic attitude of the white savior. I'll save you, little brown man. I'll let you stab my husband and let you get away with it. This is a real story, by the way. That's a real story. A man died. It's incredibly sad. And the only thing that was standing between that happening and justice for that happening was a liberal white woman. Now go vote blue because I allow you to exist to do so. It's exactly what it is, isn't it? This is why they keep letting these criminals out, these statistically predictable violent criminals. That's why they keep letting them out. You think ICE is doing a crazy job right now? Deporting all the illegal immigrants, these unchecked, unvetted criminals who, if we're lucky, their only crime is being in these countries illegally. If we're lucky, that's the only crime they've committed. If you want to see an even more efficient version of ICE, right? Hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to see something that was unprecedented in its...
Now, of course, I don't agree with how ICE is manhandling certain people. But that being said, as I mentioned before, they're sending these people back to their countries of origin. They're not being sent to Guantanamo Bay or anything of that sort. Plus, they're not being sent right away. There actually is like a separate court system for illegal immigrants, and they can also plead their case because like a lot of them legitimately had to leave their country out of some level of danger. And so that is being put into consideration. That's why they got to have a whole separate court just for this kind of thing. So now most of them are not going to be sent back right away. And some of them probably going to still remain in the country, but, on some kind of unique basis. I'm not sure the layers to this, I only just recently found this out. But it's just like there is like a thing where it's like, okay, clearly your life is gonna be in danger. We're not, the government system isn't like completely heartless, mind you. Okay, the ICE agents have specific duty. Okay, the only reason is like the specific duty just to gather illegal immigrants. That's why they gotta see the papers, the IDs, not that dissimilar to any establishment you gotta go to where you have to show your ID for certain things. But they have to get them and send them to a particular facility for a while so they can get through like a particular course system to evaluate whether or not they're no potential danger if they get set back. If they are, we gotta do some kind of other thing just to make sure that, okay, we can't be sent them out to die. Can't do that. But it doesn't help with all these, usually the super liberal white women, go into these areas where tensions are high just to interfere with a law enforcement impeding on their duties instead of protesting. Because that's where the cops is usually like Minnesota's been getting this issue. All the other areas that have like, or I'm pretty sure LA too, but all other areas of the country, notice how like there isn't this level of issue that we saw like Minneapolis or LA. It's just like, okay, protest all you want. Off of the street, that's where the cops need to come in to like, because their job is to make sure corralling the public. It's not the ICE agent's job to do that. Minnesota and LA should be on their due diligence to make sure that their police force is making sure the protests are protesting peacefully, but away, from the ICE agents from doing their duty as law enforcement. Because there's always going to be some idiot that's trying to escalate things, or dare I say, bring a weapon into a high risk area. Whether he pulled it out or not is not like a good idea, because what do you expect for a law enforcement to immediately think? Okay, you don't think like, oh, gun, it must shoot rainbows out of it. Come on, it's not a good idea. And protest, please protest peacefully. Do so. Have at it. I encourage it. But don't, take it to the point where you want to, be like a hero and savior and like, and just jump in and like manhandle or, step in between, impeding and obstructing. Because therefore, you crossed a boundary where law enforcement can take it to another level if they deemed it so, and more often than not, they will have the carte blanche to do so. And you can then cry foul once they take it there because you did not keep a distance.
Efficiency in its force. If there's another presidential election and it turns out even more ethnic minorities voted for conservatives, watch liberals make ICE look like mall cops. Okay? There is no diversity within liberalism. It is purely circumstantial. There is no diversity of thought, and any multicultural diversity is purely there because the assumption is being made that these brown people vote left. And if you don't, they will turn on you. Look at this. Poor black man in the street just trying to do his job, working for Amazon. He gets shoulder checked because he's not supporting the cause. How does this actually equate to goth, Jake? Well, I'm about to tell you. I saw this statement floating around, this one here. It's about being intolerant.
Tolerance cannot be absolute. The goth community is full of queer and ostracized people. We cannot tell them that they are welcome and safe. Then, in the same breath, tell them that they must tolerate those who hate them just like everywhere else in society. If we are truly here to protect the marginalized, we must draw a line as bright as 1,000 suns. Say no to Nazis, fascists, and predators, anti-LGBTQ plus people. Look at all those letters, man. You can't tell me that's gone too far if you got extra letters. Growing up is LGBT. That was it. Short, simple. But like QIA2S plus, it's like you don't think, even I'm pretty sure even certain gay people will look at this as like, this is getting ridiculous. Okay? And it's always something new coming out of the woodwork. They got to add to it and then add an extra color to that ridiculous. It usually just been a basic rainbow, but now it's just like, it might as well just, I don't know, be plaid at this point, because it's like going to eventually run out of colors. It's ridiculous. It's too much. That's why we call it this kind of crap woke, because it's like somebody got to identify as something, because you got nothing better else to do but try to be a part of some kind of group, because they can't think for themselves or just be by themselves, or just not try to find some way to work themselves into a particular group, because they're so like lonely, I guess. It's just like, golly, people, you gotta chop this stuff down. A lot of this stuff is bullcrap, let's be real. It's just stopped at the T's and left it be. Okay? We can understand lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans. We can, like, any rational people can, like, okay, I get it. Okay, I can understand this. But once you get the Q part and beyond, that's when it's just ridiculous. You're just making up crap now. Okay? Because, like, you're just pretty much trying to grasp at straws just to feel like you want to be a part of something. And you want to just be like a victim in some kind of capacity, so you can get some type of benefit or something, or somebody to fight for you, or you just want to have some kind of maybe main character syndrome or something. It's just you're full of bull. None, like, Q and beyond shouldn't exist. They should have chopped it off at that point. No pun intended, but it's just, instead of left it at the T's, and like, okay, this is the hard line. If you're not a part of these 4 little sections, then you're just a normal person. If you're not a lesbian, gay, bi, or trans, then you're just us regular people, okay? Or you just kind of sick in the head, okay? Stop trying to co-opt a thing just to feel like you're a part of something, or you want to feel like a marginalized. You're so desperate to be victimized or marginalized in some kind of capacity. Oh, God.
Towards intolerance. It's like we shouldn't be inclusive of people who are intolerant. Naturally so, right? This is why we have borders, for example, right? To keep out people that do not have our best interests to heart. This attitude right here was one of the biggest exposés of the leftist thought process. It's their projection. Their projection was the biggest exposure they've ever had for me. It's like we have to be intolerant of the intolerance. Don't let them in here. You see, the reason why they're saying this is because to them, disagreement is violence. If you disagree with them, they're going to be violent. So they assume, they project that we're the same. It's like, oh, well, if we let an intolerant, if we let someone in here with an alternative political view, with alternative political ideologies, come in here, they're going to be just as violent as we are. But that's not the case, is it? The left are the violent ones. We can have, as psychologically proven, we can have differing ideologies, we can have different perspectives and opinions and coexist peacefully. Be civil with each other. Just enjoy a rip-roaring good time down at the goth clubs, together, unified by music, and music alone. In fact, sometimes unified by great outfits, which are also very, very nice to look at. But that was the biggest exposure for me. It's this projection. We can't let them in because they're intolerant. They'll no. That's you. That's your attitude to people that disagree with you. You disagree, violence. Provably so. So we can't let conservatives in because they disagree with us, and therefore because we're also violent, they must also be violent as well for things that we do that they disagree with. No, this is wrong. You are projecting and exposing yourself in doing so. You know, that whites-only neighborhood that you've seen floating around, this controversial, for some reason, whites-only neighborhood, They exist already, by the way. It's cul-de-sacs in America filled with whites-only neighborhoods. Property prices are quite expensive, but... But this whites-only neighborhood sounds pretty good, man. This commune. In the sense that maybe that's something we should do, you know? Keep these crazy goths out. These liberal psychopaths masquerading as goths, cosplaying as them. They have no interest in actually upholding the original values, the unifying themes of art and music. We should make our own neighborhood. Since they've already proven that if you disagree with them, they get violent, I think that's a pretty great precedent setup to start moving away from it all. Creating our own spaces. One where people are allowed to disagree, have different opinions and ideologies, and just coexist and enjoy sharing common ground, common interests, like the old days. That's why I set up a Discord. It's linked down below. Check out the Discord. It's an amazing group of people, able to disagree, but more importantly, they love talking about the things that they have in common. Now, if you are an iOS user, you may find trouble signing up through your phone, but you can do it through desktop. I can't fix this, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it a really, really big, really large, significant space to help cultivate a far more mature subculture of people that actually do want to just be themselves, for realsies. And not just mask your conservatism so that you can spend time in Reddit amongst people that would probably get pretty violent with you if they figured out what your actual ideologies are. You can go into my Discord, go nuts. It's great in there. It's fun. So please sign up. I'm trying to do something. To have this psychopathy within the subcultures is going to be the death of them. Absorbed into the leftist homogeneity of tribalistic authoritarian control. But this leads into my next video. The inevitable next step of what I'm doing and what is being inspired. Thank you so much for watching this video today.
Yeah, I love his content, man, and like he did the research in here, the things like I can just pull up, you can see like all the sources, you can just like where find your sources. It's like pulled out like here they are, so that way you can see for yourself. It's like completely unbiased, not leaning one way or the other, so that way you can have like a honest viewpoint. That's what I like to see, like the Jubilee videos. They have like sources that are completely unbiased one way or the other, so that way this is the true stuff here, so that way you can take it, receive it, and it's like you do what you will with it, but nobody's influence, nothing. So I really like those takes. And yeah, man, it's like there's no diversity of thought. It need to be diversity of thought. I don't care your skin color or what you identify as. There should be freedom to think and say like, hey, I like certain things the Republicans are doing. I like certain things that the Democrats are doing. And neither way should the person be ostracized or looked at funny because of that. But it seems like only on the left that you get this kind of issue from. Only them. It's like I hear like certain celebrities have to hide the fact that they might be conservative. Like Kelsey Grammer had like an interview not too long ago mentioning how like he had Christian conservative beliefs, but many others just exactly like mentioned that too. That is, you'd be shocked how many of celebrities out there, kind of like maybe Sydney Sweeney as well. I know her family is, but you never specifically know about her. But those are probably like the top three you can think of or Kevin Sorbo and Dean Cain. But they're like the top ones. They have like conservative beliefs, but they often are ostracized because they don't think like the collective, that the weirdos in Hollywood. And you'd be shocked to know how many of them they got to keep it to themselves because they need work. And this is kind of sad that actors who have various different beliefs have to keep it's kind of like they have to hide in a closet in their political beliefs, because if they voice who they are, they get shunned. And you would think somebody like the left would be a little bit more sympathetic and understanding of that feeling, but no. There'll be some scarce work for them in terms of acting roles, because if they think this way, they might some people they work with might feel uncomfortable. It's like they can't check, certain people on the left can't check their ideologies and political viewpoints at the door when they come into work. Like you go into a film set, you gotta be like grips or certain people who in playing support characters or whomever get a little uncomfortable around like somebody like maybe like Zachary Levi, because oh my god, you support Trump and you must hate LGBTQ because my cousin is gay and you probably wish she was back in the kitchen and barefooted, all that blah 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 blah. So you must support everything and agree with everything. It's like all or nothing with these people, and it's like no. There are certain things you're gonna like about a person and certain things you don't. It's just like I'm pretty sure there's certain things you can like about Obama and certain things you don't. Certain things you can like about Bill Clinton, some things you don't. It's perfectly fine to have that, level of layered thinking. Okay? Nobody likes Obama wholesale. Nobody likes Bill Clinton or George Bush completely. There are some things they did you would definitely disagree with. But it only seems to be Trump that it's gotta be like, no, you can't like anything he does. No matter how good it is, you gotta absolutely hate it. You gotta disagree with it. Or even if you agree with it, you gotta have some kind of caveat to it. Oh, he did this, but he probably only did this because he get this. It's like, oh, he built an extra wing to the White House. Oh my God, it's so gaudy. He only think about himself. Blah blah blah. And it's like, there's been renovations on the White House over the centuries. He's not the first person to do it. You just do not like it because he is the one doing it. It's weird. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a little bit for more. I got like another reaction video. Then I gotta get back to playing some more Digimon, and I'm gonna play some Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel 2 tonight. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this video, and I will see you all soon. Peace.